The citizens are the major people that do contribute immensely to the governance of every country. And if the government is not reaching to the doorsteps of the downtrodden, the weak, those are the local areas, I think that government will never be effective. I'm asking you, what are you going to do about it to make sure that the 3 tiers of government work in Senate? Secondly, the 3 organs of government. Because the problem we're having in this country is that one organ of government will control the other, directly or indirectly, influencing their decisions. The executive will take decisions, try to influence the legislative organ. When it comes to choosing their leaders, the same is applicable to the judiciary. The head of the NJC, directly or indirectly, is being chosen by the executive organ. And when there such thing exists, there won't be effective governance. There won't be checks and balances on the organs of government. Sir, with your exposure, because we know that with what we have heard about you, we have read about you, we know that you have traveled far and wide and see how developed countries do have issues when it comes to the organs of government and also tiers of government. When it comes to treating the citizens well, actually, how are you going to handle this to make sure that this country moves better than it is now? I am not saying that it is bad, but better than it is now. Thank you, sir.
Okay, let me answer Michael. Michael has raised, Chika has raised a very important and salient question here. Yes, I know some people may say that my policies are bogus. I might not be easily applied. First and foremost, as a scholar of constitutionalism, I do understand the tenets of separation of powers and the types of government that we operate. Nigeria, our nation, is on an emergency level. It likened to somebody who is almost dead and need to go for surgery. Therefore, when our forebears 20, 30 years ago opted for the American-style presidentialism, I do not, and I believe that they had a very faint idea of the type of government that we were putting ourselves into. Today, applying that style of government has become a very big burden. In fact, the cost of governance alone has broken the neck of our nation. That is why you see all this confusion that Chika mentioned here. Under normal principles of separation of powers and ties of governance, there is what we call the federating list and the residual list. It clearly states what the federal government should do and what the states are to do and what the local governments are to do. By the size of our nation, yes, the ties of government is important because the local government is the closest government that actually affects the lives of Nigerian people. I agree with you, Chika, that yes, severally, that is why Nigeria state government will even control the budget of local government. And forgetting the fact that on the fiscal level, there is a disbursement meant for the local government, but their state governors will take it and then use it as a dangling carrot to those he wishes to deal with. That will end, because that is criminal. In my style of government, first and foremost, I will remove immunity clause. Because when we remove immunity clause by executive orders, there are certain things I will do as president of Nigeria because I understand the constitution. And I also know that on a level of emergency, the president has a right to govern via emergency rule. I'm not saying I will govern all over by emergency rule, but certain sectors that have become inimical and difficult and bottleneck for our nation, we have a way to go around the Constitution. There shall be a proper tier of governance. The local government will receive what belongs to them under federal supervision. The state will have theirs, and of course the center. And on the area of activities and functions of the tiers of government, when I say National Reconstruction of Nigerian Infrastructure, CHICA, you know that the federal government roads and bridges course across the entire nation. With that in mind, that program alone is enough to guarantee and reduce the bulk of our unemployment. Why? Because my idea and policy here is that I will recall back some of our eminent engineers who are retired today, put them on consultancy to train our teaming Nigerian engineers, civil engineers, architects, and the rest of them across the nation. Then they can be able to help us to build our nation. Now, the state governments have the right and responsibility to emulate what I'm doing in the center for their states. The local governments also have their right, because if they're well disbursed and they have their budget being operated without being tampered to by their state government, they would carry out their own responsibilities and be supervised. To this effect, under emergency rule, we are going to have what we call supervisory council that is backed by the judiciary. And this council will be independent, because in my administration, judiciary must be what it ought to be, an independent arbiter. The agency, the segmental arm of government that will look at what we do, and that we can always call upon to help in ensuring that tiers of governance, where there is a conflict, they will step in to reconcile. Because currently, what we are even operating now is a unitary government in economic system terms. I am going to enforce and encourage the states. Every state in Nigeria has a potential. Every local government has a potential. So there's going to be a national policy where states would be encouraged by federal government through grants, emoluments, enunciated programs, tapping into what each and every state can produce. We aid them so that states can be self-sufficient, and the same will be applicable to local government. It's only a matter of we waking up from slumber, having the right people in governance who understand how to translate the wealth of our nation into profitability that will aid and help our citizens.